And hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Right Stuff here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. The Right Stuff is a place where we're able to connect you with authors and not only share their stories, but also what it's been like for them to know that their words have power that have been to reach people literally around the world. If you guys are new to us here on the Amazon Live platform, welcome. Make sure you guys hit that follow button. You'll see it either here in this corner or down below. You will also see the book by our next guest. We're excited to welcome author Fann to our broadcast today. She's the author of this book you guys see right here, Her Shoes. You'll be able to get it here either in paperback, as I have it here, or the Kindle edition as well here on Amazon. So you'll see it either beneath us or on the side of us. We're going to talk to CC not only about the writing of the book, but what it's been like for her to embrace the power of words for herself and to see the way they've been able to connect with others. We're also simulcasting our broadcast today, so we welcome those tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. If you all have any questions or comments for CC, make sure you guys put those in the comment section. But CC, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Well, look, I appreciate that. We're glad to have you here on The Right Stuff. So, CC, I had a chance to read your book, Her Shoes. We're going to, again, tell our audience more about it as we get into the conversation. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I thought about when I was prepping for your segment here on The Right Stuff, CC, is that the power of words. And you, as a person of faith, know, and you kind of allude to in the book, we all know that words have power. The words we speak of ourselves and others have power. What has it been like for you to see the power of words in your own life?
It's just amazing because you learn to choose them wisely. Mm-hmm. You learn to, I call karma karmation. To whatever you, karma, it takes a while. But with karmation, this day and time, we're in 2024, it come real quick. She don't care. She's gonna hit you. She's not gonna play. So you have, and I often tell anybody I meet, it's what you put out there. If you say vile things gonna come back at you. So you have to be careful in what you say out your mouth, and definitely what you write. But if that's how you feel when you write, whatever you write about, because nobody can tell you how you feel. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, because in that moment, look at the death we having in the world today. Family members killing each other over Christmas present. I seen that on news feed. Like it's how much power in it, and people build up that so much anger and aggression till they don't realize if they would just put it down on paper and write it out versus saying it, and that person has a clap back or you do a clap back. We probably get along much better because on paper you can sort of like navigate what you write. You can erase, take away, edit, however you want to smooth it out and be a little bit more political. But at the end of the day, no one can tell you your feelings is very powerful, and that drives what you say and what you write.
Cece, that is such a great point, and it goes to a lot of, and hello to you all coming in on the Amazon Live side. If you guys have any questions or comments for Cece, make sure you guys put those in the comment section. You bring up a really good point, and we see it in your book, Her Shoes, in that we may see things in the world. And here's where I think it gets interesting, Cece, and I'm curious to see your thoughts about this. Because some of the things you talk about in the book is the way that people dress, what's become normalized these days, the things that people do. And it's one thing for them to choose to do it. It's another thing for them to make you feel as though you have to accept it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's just something you have to do. When did you get that courage to say that you don't have to do what everyone else does?
Because I remember I was a child, and as I grew up, one of my aunt would always say, "Trina, you're different. You're really different from everybody," and I didn't get that. And it was only till in 2000 when I wrote the first book, and I realized I truly am different because I wanted a different path than what my mother had. She
Mhm.
worked all the time, 16 hours. My grandmother had 9 kids. She raised me. I wanted to get a chance to see the world or know the world, know a lot of people.
Mhm.
Whenever I went to, when I was in sports in high school, I sat with my team, but I also got to know the other team.
Yeah.
I didn't want any, I always say, I'm driving down the road, or I have a flat tire, then they may know me if they ride by. So I'm always courteous to people, but the courage was that I knew I had a message. I knew that the things I went through my in my life with raising 3 kids,
Mhm.
not knowing my father growing up, I just knew that was something else, something that I need to get out to the world. I don't want anyone to suffer like I did silently.
Yeah.
And I say I allowed those things to happen because I really was just trying to get love wherever I could, and I
Mhm.
accepted that love, and I didn't want to rock the boat, as to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're in a close knit family. You
Right.
just want to just I remember I have a family and we often bump heads. It was always something with her, but I accepted what she put out towards me because I just knew I didn't want to like upset everybody or be a complainer or a whiner. Till it got to a point where I stood up. I said, "No, that's it, Dana.
Yeah.
You're done." Yeah.
And see, that is the thing, and that it's all about choices, and that's one thing I appreciate. Again, I went into reading her shoes, CC,
Mhm.
not knowing what to expect, and I want our audience to know, even though, of course, we see a pair of women's shoes on the cover, this is a book that men can be able to read and really, I
Mhm.
think, appreciate as well. There are two poems I want to actually, because the way you wrote this is almost in prose, CC, and we'll talk more about that. But I want to read a bit of two things that you wrote in the book. One is Josephine. And for those who have the paperback like I do, it's on page 103. I want to read a bit of this and then we talk about it. CC, you wrote this, Josephine. Joseph's brothers sold him just like Joseph, God delivered him. God will deliver me. God will bless me to bless my family, even though they did me wrong. And then you go through a list of things that you will not. I want to read some of these. I will not be sold anymore. I will not be used anymore. I will not be loaned out anymore. I will not belittle anymore. I will not be devalued anymore. I will not be ridiculed anymore. I will not be humiliated anymore. And then the one I really like is I will not be quiet anymore. And it
Mhm.
goes to what I was asking you earlier about your voice, because
Mhm.
in this, what you talk about, what you will not do, some of them are things you won't allow people to do to you, but
Mhm.
also things that you won't do as well to others. When did you realize the importance of that? Of realizing what you were putting out there, but also what you were willing to receive.
One of the things is growing because I'm in the middle. I'm like number 10
Hmm.
at the nine for the first nine, and then I'm the oldest grandchild.
Okay.
And I think because my intelligence, when I say that, I was very smart. I could have been a lawyer. I'm a teacher now. I could have I'm a writer, right? I have
Hmm.
many gifts and talents. And so and I would drive family members say, "Hey, somebody died." And I could drive anywhere in the United States. I've driven across it. I love driving to Atlanta. They were like, "What you doing, Trina, with or CC? Because we need somebody to drive us to Atlanta." And I was like, "Okay, I can go." You know, and so I just wouldn't say no. But
Yeah.
then it was like that's all I'm worth to you, you
Hmm.
know. Um, um, I also was like, if you need to know something about court cases, speeding tickets, it's different things that I would do that they can call upon me and say, "Hey, what you know this sheriff?" Because when I did a prison book, I got a chance to know a lot of sheriffs and
Hmm.
working with corrections for 70 years. I would call a sheriff, say, "Hey, can you work this ticket out?" So these are the things that people get paid a lot of money to do.
Yeah.
And here I am doing it basically for nothing, but I'm doing it out of goodness of my heart too, as well.
Right.
Right. And only for to find out that some things I've done for some people, let me say that, you really were wrecking me up with a cold. You were throwing me like mud, you know.
Hmm.
But I'm loving you purely and unconditionally by, hey, helping you. I want to help you, and because I want somebody to help me.
Right.
And to know that, to find out that there was some that really took that kindness, you know, it sort of I felt angry about it. You know, I
Yeah.
really was angry. And so now, since I have relocated into a new town for the last 4 years, I'm like, who y'all gonna call now? Y'all still living, you still doing what you gotta do. I don't have to throw the family reunions.
Yeah.
Who gonna throw that family reunion? Because I'm not there. These are things that I would use to head up. And I'm quite sure they appreciate me, but I did not feel that love. Like,
Right.
yes, until it was time for it to come around again. Oh, let's call, see what she can do. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Charlotte Edwards on Facebook says, "I need that book." It really is a powerful book, and again, it is a book that I think people can relate to very easily. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching The Right Stuff here on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. As I mentioned, Charlotte is joining us on Facebook. We're talking to author Cece Fann today about her writing journey, but also her book. You guys can see it there. Her shoes. It's available right here on Amazon, both in paperback as well as the Kindle edition. I want to read another piece from the segment in here, Ahab, CC, and talk to you about this. This is what you say. Sometimes we commit to people not knowing they are nothing. Sometimes we do things trying to please others. Sometimes we carry out people's dirty work. Sometimes we are in so deep we lose ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of ties into what you were just saying. And I want to talk about that because, we live in a world where people will try to make you feel bad for
Mm-hmm.
thinking about yourself. Even though, as you just mentioned, they will use you until they can't use you anymore. When did you start valuing yourself? That's an important question for you, but also for our audience. When did you start realize, CC, that your life was just as valuable as anyone else's?
I think I just want to be first. You know, I don't want to share. I'm an Aries. If you know anything about Aries, we don't like sharing. We stingy people, and I don't want to share a person. And I was in a relationship, and I got to where, oh, you're not gonna do this, and I'm like, you're getting older. You got, okay. It's been 3 years. What you gonna do? If you ain't gonna do this, do that. But I was definitely in love till I couldn't get out.
Mhm.
My kids were tied up in it. With the families were tied up in it, but he was nothing, and he was it was and to this day I feel like I probably would have still been in it.
Mm.
I actually did this thing. I don't want to have nothing to do with you, your children, or nobody over there. Blocked everybody and what have you, because I said, if I can't be first, right, I can't be
Mhm.
the only, then I'd rather be, as Medea say, in a house full of cats then.
Yeah.
But I'm not fin to lower my standard down in my morals just because you are good, you're nice, you're sweet, you can sweet talk sugar, sweetness out of sugar, as they say, and attracted person. So I said, you know what, you're not all that for me to have these moments where I feel like I'm not worthy enough. You know, I may see you on my birthday, I may not.
Mhm.
And I think that's where I was like, when it came to that part of my life, finances and everything, where I said, you know what, I need a clean slate and love Jesus more
Mhm.
and rely on him more. And I just made a covenant with God. I do 10% tithing. I started this in about 5 years ago. I do 10% tithing on everything I make. I don't work on Sundays. Um, I have this motto: if I can't help you, I'm not gonna tear you down. You know, I created principles that what I'm gonna do for people that I want them to do for me, and I'm gonna let you know that you're gonna do that for me. And if you don't want to do it for me, fine, walk away. You
Yeah.
know, just walk away.
Yeah.
But when I want to go back to the first poem, when I talk about they sold me,
Mhm.
when I read Things Fall Apart. It's an African story. It's a great book, and I was teaching multicultural lit. That's one of our novels I read. How
Mhm.
this man had everything and he lost it all, and he got exiled from his village and all. And so then that it just reminded me so much of Joseph, and his brothers. And then as I got into more of the African culture, our roots and what have you, of what they do over there, how they do the money rituals, they would take a family member and sell that family for money ritual so they could stay wealthy, and the family couldn't make any money. I felt like that, not saying which family, what family, or what family member,
Right.
but I just know from talking to my aunt how my father was, that I don't have a relationship with at all. She said, she was like, he's evil. And when she said that, she said, he's very evil. And it's good he didn't raise you. Because what happened to my sister, my half sister, who died with AIDS? She was out there doing everything on the streets and what have you. And he knew it.
Mm.
And she had a hard life. And just to know I have a loving family here that was so supported. But I knew once I got grown, I couldn't prosper. To me, I was living check to check, and whenever I did get money, something would come around and take it away. So I just started relating to. I went. That's why I went into Deuteronomy, about why you can't prosper, and trying to abide by God's word, so I could prosper. Because I do know, I just knew I was a millionaire. It's God just hadn't opened the door yet. But then I'm gonna go to another story with David and say that David said, or in the Proverbs, that you did the ditch, lie, my enemy lied too. So I was just like, my mom was talking to me one day. I said, call me crazy if you want to, Mama. And I said, and her name, I said, Jen. I said, this way, I said, you pray for me to be broke, or we both be broke together.
Mm.
Yes.
It's so interesting, Cece, and I want our audience to know. Cece and I have not talked about what we were going to talk about, but Cece, you mentioned that about the ditch in the next piece I was going to read it, which was about
Yeah.
the neighbor,
Yeah.
and I want to read that because I think that is so interesting, and it's funny that you bring that up because this is what you wrote about the neighbor, and I think even though it's called the neighbor, we can really use it to whatever our situation or person in our life this may fit. You write this: you will not provoke me, you will not anger me, you will not curse me, you will not control me. Your car being next to mine will not curse me. You will lose. The seeds and prayers that you have sowed against me will not work. The Bible says you dig a ditch, dig two. I want to talk about that because I think here's the thing, and this is where I think a lot of people get it wrong, CC. Just because someone may mistreat us, some people feel like they automatically have to do something to them,
Mhm.
right? How did you get to a place so you could recognize what was happening and being able to walk away from it?
I read the Bible from the front to the back 2 times. Okay. And to know when it says, let God fight your battle. And because it says, don't go to bed and be angry.
Mm,
Okay. And I often was told, keep your mouth shut. You don't have to say nothing.
mm,
God would get them way worse than you can. And what she would do, and this is a true story. What she would do would park in 2 spots, and right there in front of where I was in our apartment complex. So that means when I walk in my front door, I walk into your car.
mm,
And we actually wasn't. We worked for the same school system, but she really wanted my job that I had,
mm.
and I was a head coach at that time, and she was just doing all type of trifling and stuff. Now let's say this: before 50, there was a trainer. Okay, my family would say that Trina right there, you don't want to wake her up, because
Mm.
I would have had the old Trina would have been standing out there when she come out, and so let me go there now. So
Mhm.
you take somebody to work with inmates for 17 years, so I don't play right.
Yeah.
So when I looked at it, I took a picture of it and sent it to our supervisor. I shared it to the principals, and they called her in, and there you have it. I just did that. I ain't
Mm.
said a word to her. She ended up resigning and leaving and going on about her business. But I do know that if we learn to just, if we, I know we want to reach out and touch and lay hands on the people, but we have to learn that self control.
Yeah.
I'm in a business, and as you know, you are. We don't want scandals. We
Hmm.
don't want negative things said about us in a bad light. We try to not walk like we're angels on earth, but we want to walk an example where that the young people, not us, not them
Right.
old people, because y'all
Right.
don't live y'all life, but young children can see us handling things, and handling it in a dignified and professional and courteous way.
Mhm.
We may be cursing you out in our mind, but you're gonna read that on my face. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be like, okay, all right, we good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So,
I
yeah.
came to that point is nobody trying to go to jail for you, and nobody, because that's what people want, for you to say stuff and do things. They can take a warrant out on you now.
Yeah.
They can do this and do that. They
Hmm.
might and make a
Hmm.
post about you. And they might have time for
Right.
and videotape you. And no, videotape Jesus when he gets you.
And that's the point I was going to bring up, CC. That's the whole thing. People these days, it's very obvious they want a reaction. A lot of
They
times I
do.
think about, you think about things people write in comment sections and things people write, they're
Mm-hmm.
doing it for a response.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, that's why it's on us to make the decision. You know what? I'm not going to even feed into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now that does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to get
It's
there,
a
because
lot.
it's very easy for us to want to defend ourselves, and a lot of times the ego can get involved, and we feel like, no, who are you to say,
Mm-hmm.
this or that? But I want to talk about being an example, because you mentioned, of course, being an educator, and I'm not even talking about in the classroom. What has it been like for you, CC, considering all that you've gone through, all that you've overcome? What has it been like for you to realize that you are an example for other people as to what they can do?
It's been fun. It's been. I can't describe it. I can't describe it because it's just one of those things that it gives me peace to know that I am, you
Hmm.
know, to know that I'm recognized. And I was once named positive coach for Middle Georgia here, and that's over 45 counties in all the sports, right? And to know you get like, and my AD said, "You so positive, I can curse you out." You be like, "All right, that's all," And he said that's just that positive thing. But because I want our youth to know, because after working in a prison with people that have given up their freedom and their lives, that they need an example.
Yeah.
And to be an example to my youth, and to see kids walk up to me and hug me or reach out to me from 20 years ago or what have you, that was our coach that she didn't play, or she did this. And to know that a lot of them went on to college, because I spoke about college with them.
Hmm.
It's just, I just want them to be productive citizens. I would have this joke. I said, I just need you to go to college, make a lot of money, go to the military, make a lot of money, so you can send me some toward my retirement. You don't mind. I just don't want you breaking in my house.
Yeah.
Yes. And I want that. I want them to know that going to jail and prison is just one like that.
Hmm.
And I want to set an example that you need to control your actions. Just control them. Don't let the people that boost you up, and when you look back, they ain't gonna go with you to the jailhouse. They ain't gonna come over there. They ain't put no money on your books.
Yeah.
So I just want to be that example that this how you handle situations, no matter how bad it may seem to you, how it hurts your feelings, but just handle it gracefully, you know, and it'll work out for you. There's something that's better than what that happened right there.
Exactly. Such a great point. Again, everyone, author CC Fann is our guest for this segment of The Right Stuff. We're talking with her not only about her own journey, but the power of words, and also this book you guys see here, Her Shoes. Hello to you, Manswell. Manswell's joining us on Facebook. He says hello to you as well,
Hey,
CC. So, CC, as we wrap up here, I want to talk about inspiration for others, because you've been able to find your path as an author. You've been able to share your story. What advice do you normally give to others when it comes to picking up the pen, or putting words to paper and sharing their own story?
I say if you're writing a story, putting yourself in writing, if you can look at it and you can read it again, and you can feel the emotion of what you wrote, that's a book. If it
Yeah.
makes you laugh or smile, or it's like, dog, did I put that down? Did I really say that? Then if it affects you as a writer, then it's gonna affect readers. But
Yeah.
I also know that everybody's not gonna like your stuff.
Mm.
And you need to know, people sort of give Amazon this bad thing because the percentage of it, right? And I would say you write your story, but you will never reach the people Amazon can.
Hmm.
And that little money that you gonna make, that you say little money, if you sell 1 million books on Amazon and just get $1, you still a millionaire.
Yeah.
Just tell your story, read it, and expect the criticism, but just think about negative publicity. Publicity make way more money than the positive. So
See, you know what? You said something interesting. I want to talk about just for a second because I think sometimes we get things kind of twisted. Um, just because someone does not like something that you write does not mean
mhm,
it's bad.
that's right.
Everything is not for everyone. How does that help you? Because people may read your book and say, "Well, I can't relate to this. This book is
Hmm.
not for me." Doesn't
Hmm.
mean there's anything wrong with the book. It's just not for them. How did you get to a place where you could realize that your story may not be for everyone, but it will touch those that it's meant to touch?
I just know we live in a world with so many billions of people,
Hmm.
and that one reader is not going to negate. I may have 10 over here
Yeah,
that love it.
yeah.
Okay, so it's like getting a passing grade. So
Hmm.
I got a 90. That's still an A. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so I look at it like that.
Hmm.
It's all about reaching a majority and knowing there's a minority down there.
Hmm.
Okay, and for me, what I did was I said I'm not worried about my family buying a book, or my friends buying a book, or my coworker buying a book. Keith Brown, I don't know if he's a writer, a motivation speaker. He's from Middle Georgia, and um, he said that just because you're from a small town doesn't mean you have to have a small town mentality.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
that's what I live on.
Yeah.
I live on that. I'm a small town girl, raised up, born in a house, big house, had an outhouse on a dirt road, and I'm telling you, if you gotta broaden your scope
Yeah.
on your customers,
Right.
on the people, your consumers, the people that you're trying to reach. You can't
Exactly.
pound in the people that pound in their head. Why would they ask all these questions? Because they want to go back and report to somebody else. That's what I
Hmm.
see them people like. They the reporters. They the PR person.
Hmm. Well, I think, and you bring up a really good point, and that's the thing. I mean, I tell people all the time that your destination doesn't have to define your elevation,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a lot of times, as you just said, even though it may not be for everyone, reaching that person, no matter where you're from, and again, talking about even the biblical examples, some of them, would not be people that individuals would look at as something great, but greatness was still in them. And I
Yeah.
think that's the great thing. So it's so great to be able to see that. Again, everyone, author CC Fann has been our guest. Her Shoes is the book that's here on Amazon. Again, you guys can get either the paperback like I have here, or you can get the Kindle edition there in the carousel on Amazon, either here on this side or down below, depending on what device you're watching us on. For those who are joining us on the other platforms, if you guys would like to get your copy of the book, we have the link that'll bring you over to Amazon with this broadcast as well. CC, I told you the time would go by fast. Really glad
Hi.
to,
I
to have you on the
want to talk.
program. Yeah. So to let them know, CC, how can they stay connected with you?
You can go to my website, www.ccfan.com. You can reach me on Facebook, my Arthur's page,
Hmm.
Arthur CC Fan, or you can go to Instagram. I am CC Fan,
All
and you can
right.
go to X where it says at CC Fan.
All
Yeah.
right.
All
There you
right.
go. Well, look, great conversation with you, CC. Looking forward to our next chat together.
Yes. Thank you, and thank you for having me. And
Hey, glad
everybody
to
been
do
great.
it.
Thank you.
All right. And we thank your audience for tuning in to this episode of The Right Stuff here on Amazon Live, where we kind of bring you not only, of course, the story of authors, but also their own journey to be able to get to the printed page. And then, of course, be able to inspire others as well. Make sure you guys do get CC's book here on Amazon. Again, I'll be posting my review of it as well. Encourage you all, if you've read it, to do the same thing. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying thank you for being with us here on The Right Stuff. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.